this is going to be hell.
I'm the only person here, and it's just the testing people from the districts.
So then they take my passport. Realized that no, the laws just changed like a few hours ago. Wild, like it was actually wild. Mbila for breakfast.
Singicabange kahle baby ngihamba nawe ngikhetha wena phela ngifuna abanye wena kumele ungisalele izingane uthando la ngempela ngeliqhabuka ngawe.
Hello, Senibonani, Ni Hao, and hey, it's your girl Busi here, and today I'm joining you from my quarantine room for the last time because I just got news that I'm leaving tomorrow morning. So yes, they're letting me go. Finally! Finally. I'm not like a makeup person, this is not a beauty channel, you guys aren't here for this, but yeah, I just thought that I would do just a sit down, talking, chatting video, just letting you guys know about my experience in quarantine and how everything has been. Just a very general video, and also just like my day-to-day experience in quarantine. So I'll be inserting some clips of me, you know, living my life instead of just making it like a vlog style, because there's only so much footage that I have, because most of the time I'm doing absolutely nothing vloggable. So if you guys would like to see what my life has been like and watch me embarrass myself on camera trying to get ready, then stay tuned. Okay, just lost the beauty blender. So I was actually initially supposed to go to Norway, but things changed quickly, so I needed to get back to China because I could see Uguti. No, I might actually end up not being able to get back to China if I go to Norway first. So I had to try and get my passport back from the Norwegian embassy, but for some reason they just didn't send it back to me, even though they said they would. And I called and I emailed and they just didn't, and then I couldn't get a hold of them, and they knew when my trip to China was scheduled for. On the Thursday I went to go pick up my passport and Dololo. Friday I went Dololo. Saturday was a public holiday and they don't even open on a public holiday in VFS. So I cried, I literally cried, because I was like, you guys are messing with my future right now. Anyway, after many phone calls to the consulate, to God knows who, I don't know, Fred called them, spoke to them in Norwegian and a language they understand so they could give me back my passport, I managed to get them to agree to open the embassy on a public holiday. They found my passport, to no surprise, because I told them that's where it was, and yeah, they basically said that they would leave it with the security guard and I could pick it up. And so I got my friend to go pick it up for me that day, and then I met with my friend in Johannesburg the next day because I was scheduled to fly on Monday morning. When we get to the airport, I thought it's just going to be empty because, like, surely there can't be that many people going to China right now. Boy, was I wrong.
Look how long the line is. This is all one person.
At that point, there was just like one flight a week going to China. I asked the woman at the check-in desk, and she said me 19 people landed, but it's almost full going back or going to China. So I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna get such a bad seat. But she was like, don't worry, I got your window seat. And I was like, oh, thank you. Thanks. Our plane was delayed by an hour and a half. And also, funnily enough, I was on the same flight actually sitting in front of my high school English teacher. Obviously, guys, there were a lot of temperature checks. I think more than 15 times that my temperature was taken on the flight. Like before boarding, during the flight, like they kept waking me up to take my temperature. And also, funny enough, so the plane was full, but I did not have anyone sitting next to me. I was sitting alone in my row.
So I'm currently on the flight. I've been on for 6 hours and I have 6 hours to go. I'm sitting alone in my row even though the plane is full.
And the guy in front of me also didn't have anyone sitting with him, so I could like sleep on the flight. And we were the only people on the whole plane who could do this, so that was weird. It was really weird. So then when we land, we couldn't get off the plane for over an hour because we were waiting to have all our temperatures checked by the Chinese Center for Disease Control people. Like, we didn't realize it, so, like, I don't know, it felt like something was a bit up, but it didn't click with me. It didn't really click that something was going on, because they let out one row, like at least another 20 minutes before they let us out. And then, because I was in the third row essentially, and then so when they let us out, like the whole area of the plane. They let us out at the same time, and then we went through obviously more temperature checks when we got off the plane, and like filling in forms, scanning codes, everything. So yes, we were green codes, so we thought, okay, this is gonna be smooth sailing, and then we're gonna transfer to Shanghai, and then it's gonna be good. And then after going through like all the security, like passport control, instead of letting us carry on, they called us to come back to do more tests. So then we had to do an armpit thermometer check instead of the normal like checks. So I was with this guy that was sitting in front of me, because basically they grouped us together because he didn't speak Chinese. So I guess I was helping him. I suppose I was helping him. So because I speak Chinese, surprise. And yeah, so we basically were going through this together. They tell us that we have to go out and wait for something. So we don't know what we're waiting for. We think, okay, we're obviously gonna go on the bus and then go around to like the normal side of the airport or something. That's what we were thinking. But so we're waiting and waiting and waiting. And then suddenly they're like, okay, yeah, the bus for people going to Shanghai is here, so we must all go. But we couldn't just go on the bus. They were seating us according to how we were sat on the plane. So the guy who was sitting in front of me was sitting behind me now. So like the people around me were people who I had seen on the flight. So that was a bit strange to me, but like, not like, I wasn't like worried or anything, but it was a bit strange at the time. Looking back, I'm like, I should have known. Anyway, so now it is 8 o'clock and we're supposed to board at 8:30 to go to Shanghai. So now I'm like freaking out. I'm like, are they gonna wait? Like, is the plane gonna wait for us? So yeah, we're just a bit like, I was just a bit tense about that, and I was like, what's happening? What's happening? And then suddenly, the guy who sat in front of me, let's call him Judah. So Judah is like, you know that we're going to get tested? And I was like, no, why? He's like, because people on our plane had fevers. And I'm like, where are you getting this information from? And he's like, basically the Chinese guy sitting next to him told him. And I'm like, excuse me. And the guy's like, yeah, didn't they tell you? And I'm like, no one told us anything. And he's like, oh yeah, they told us. I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay, so when are we gonna go to Shanghai? Like, what's happening? He's like, no, we're going to a hotel to quarantine and wait there for the results. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, excuse me? That was new information, obviously. Basically, from the runway, we literally drove out of the airport. I didn't even know you could do that. So I asked the CDC people, like, where are we going? He's like, we're going to a hotel. I'm like, are we paying? How much is the hotel? How long are we staying? Like, I'm asking all these questions, and he's like, I don't know. So that was frustrating. So we drive around for like an hour, and I didn't notice that we're driving in circles, because you just notice when you're driving around in circles. So, and then the bus stops. He sits us on the bus for over an hour. And then suddenly, like, the Chinese people start going crazy, and they're like complaining like, you can't keep us on here, it's hot on the bus, there's no air conditioning, there's, you know, we want to go to the bathrooms, we want to eat, we're hungry. So they start like laying out all the complaints, because we landed at 5:30, and so at this point it's now like 10 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock. There's just like no movement. So of course we're frustrated, and then so the guy says okay fine, he'll let us out, and the people that want to go to the toilets, they can go to the toilet one by one and everything. So that's what happens. People go to the bathroom, and then people start, there's like a convenience store straight outside like the bus where we are. So then people start buying things from the convenience store to eat, and I'm like, I can't eat on this bus when there are people with fevers. I'm like, this is how you get the Rona, so I'm not about that. So eventually they let us off the bus, and then we're waiting to go inside this hotel, but they're letting us in like, I don't know, 3 at a time or something. Finally got off the bus. Just got some things to snack on, things to eat. So we're waiting, and then while we're waiting, I drop my duty-free thing. It falls off the suitcase, and a bottle of wine breaks. My rosé. Heartbreaking, to say the least. So then when we get let into the hotel, we have to all our details and stuff, like our address, everything. Basically we had been filling out the same like set of information, and I don't even know how many forms that we'd had to fill in at that point. So same, we fill out those details, and then they sign us a room, and then we have to pay. So we have, which is like, normally it's like 2,000 rand, but right now because of the exchange rate it's like 2,500 rand that they made us pay. So they said that we're gonna be there for 3 days minimum, right? We're like, where are our bags? Like, where the hell are our suitcases? Because we literally like were kidnapped off the runway. So then they say, don't worry, they'll bring the suitcases, and we're like, when? They're like, we don't know, but they'll bring them. So signing in, they ask us, I don't know what test they took on us or something. We're like, what test? Like, we didn't get tested. And so the Chinese people that we've now befriended are like, yo, we got tested. Did you guys get tested? And we're like, no, of course not. Like, when would we have gotten tested? And they're like, at the airport. And we're like, no. So basically, they're like, oh, don't worry, you'll get tested. And we're like, okay. So anyway, so I go up to my room, and there's the bathroom. Okay. So the most frustrating part of this whole experience is that people weren't giving us information. So, and I kept asking questions. I'm like, and they were just like, we don't know. Like, they were just annoyed. And of course, there's only one guy that spoke English. So, and he was just an annoying guy. He was so annoying. And I'm sure he like was annoyed with us. Because then I like get on the bed and I nap. I'm like, I'm sleeping. Like, I'll see what happens when I wake up, if there's any update. And then there's like a knock on the door, and we get our first meal. This is our first meal, quarantine meal. And look, I won't lie, it doesn't look bad. Even though I'm supposed to be pescatarian now. They brought dinner. The suitcases are there, and I can go fetch my suitcase. So I like basically run down to go fetch my suitcase, and I get there, and I'm the only person there. I don't know if I'm the only person they told or what, but I'm the only person there. And they're like to me, why are you here? And I'm like, to fetch my suitcase. And they're like, oh, just wait. So I'm like standing outside enjoying the fresh breeze, because it's pretty hot in Shenzhen, and it just felt nice to be outside. So yeah, I was not gonna waste that time. So I think that's my suitcase over here. Check out. I got my luggage. I left that room for a very long time. Just no. So my days in quarantine were in Shenzhen were, I mean, I didn't really have much to do. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Guys, the food is not terrible, right? But it's just a bit much. Like umbila for breakfast. Like, how am I gonna eat mealies for breakfast? And like, I don't know what that is. And an egg always. Mental health is sitting at a good, strong 85%. Just got my Miniso delivery. I'm so happy. Well, I ordered it a few hours ago, but here it is. So, you guys might be wondering, what did I get? I got a very expensive loofah. Ice cream bath bowl. This is what I got to shower, because I can't be using my hands, honestly. Earbuds. I thought these were wet wipes. I don't know what these are. Exfoliator, because Lord. Sanitizer, some spray sanitizer. I got some mouthwash. Hand cream, because every time I sanitize, my hands become so dry. And face mask, because yeah, well. That was my mini haul. You know, I wish I could like vlog some inspirational, like stay indoors, like it's fun. It's really not fun. Apparently some people got notice this morning that they could book their flights or their trains or whatever to continue their journey. I haven't, but I only tested yesterday, so maybe that's why. Oh yeah, I got a test eventually. They took a thing that looks like an earbud, so they didn't like warn me beforehand, but they basically like open your mouth, and I'm like, what? So I open my mouth just like a little bit, and then they're like more like so I'm like and then literally like stuck something down my throat, and it like scratched the back of my throat, and I'm like, I even like coughed, and I started coughing after that. So yeah, I was like scared, because I was like, shit, like why am I coughing suddenly? So yeah, and then I got my results after like 2 days, and they were negative. Actually, everyone on our flight was negative. I let you girl, so that was all for nothing. But I'm actually glad that they did it, because it's just safer. It's definitely safer than not, you know, quarantining and having like 300 people, you know, spreading this madness. So then after they tell us that we're all negative, they say that they're gonna release us. So we think, okay, great. And they say that they're releasing us slowly, so they'll let us know when it's our turn to go. They say they're releasing old people and people with kids first. So then and by the time that we eventually got released, the laws had changed. So I knew that when I got to Shanghai, we would have to quarantine. So that was annoying, because we wouldn't have had to quarantine if we had just, you know, gone on schedule. So anyway, long story short, the day of our release, they tell us to meet downstairs at 1:30. Guys, I'm literally like done. I'm even wearing my shoes. I'm just so ready to leave. Like, I've packed almost everything. I'm not even eating my lunch. I broke one bottle of wine, so I had to open the duty-free bag. So now I've had to put an additional 3 kgs into my bag. So we get there, we like have to pay more, obviously, because we've stayed much longer than 3 days. And then we get on a bus and they take us to the airport. So now I think, okay, as soon as we get to the airport, it's bye to these people, especially that annoying English-speaking CDC person. But no, of course. We stop at departures for like 5 minutes, and then they drive on. And then we end up going somewhere like in the air. I don't even know. It was to this parking lot, and there are these CDC tents and stuff, and I'm like, not again, like not again. But the guy, actually the CDC guy, got out with all our like forms and papers, and he went out and he like spoke to the people, did something, and he got back onto the bus, and that seemed to be that. And then we drove back to departures. We like get out, and then I think, okay, goodbye. No, we had to stay together. And then when we go in, he leads us into this boxed out area of the airport, just for, I guess, us. So we're all in there. So the Shenzhen airport just gave us a care package that has like masks and water and something to eat. But that's so cool. Of the people who, I mean, there was six or eight of us, I'm not sure. And so we have to sit there, and they know what time our flights are. So they only let us out to go check in and everything in time for our flight. So I'm like, wait, but we're hungry, like, can we go eat? And they're like, no, you have to wait here. I'm like, but I'm hungry, like, I didn't eat breakfast because I thought like, or lunch, because I was like, no, I actually want some proper food. So I was just like, oh no, I paid myself. And then the guy later comes to me, one of our babysitters, and he's like, well, we can go, I can go with you, you can buy something to eat. And I'm like, okay. He's like, where do you want to go? I'm like, McDonald's. So he walks with me, we go to McDonald's, and before you go in, so this is in the airport, so before you go into McDonald's, they take your temperature, and you go, and you know, whatever. So I came back, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna sit and eat. And then as we get back, they're like, okay, we have to go check in now. So I'm like, oh, really? So we go, we check in, but we check in at a different window, a different counter, not like a normal one. And then we weigh our bags, and my bag was now like 26 kilograms when it's supposed to be 23. So then they're like, okay, we need to take our bags and check them in to a separate area, which has all the basically, you know, if you have skis and like big bulky luggage, you have to check it in there. So we had to check our bags in there. So I'm thinking, okay, now we're going through security. No, we have to, so the guy takes us to this other room. Like, basically, there's a place where you go for security if you're like in a wheelchair or something. So not even there, we have to go into this past, guys, it was wild. Like, it was actually wild. So we get to our own security check-in, and the guy who's taking us, he has to go through the security check-in, and they search him for more than 5 minutes. And I was like, this is going to be hell. So when we check in, they make us take off almost everything. Usually they say take off big jackets, but they made me even take off my small, like, inner jersey thing. My bag, I had a suit, like a laptop. So obviously you take out the laptop and a power bank. So my bags went through, and they're like, no, you have something else in there. I'm like, what? Like, what could I have? Like a camera? They're like, no. So they're saying this thing, but I don't know what it is, because it's an external hard drive, guys. I don't know what that word is in Chinese. I still don't know what it is. So they were mad that I didn't take that out. So yeah, so I take that out, and then they're like, no, they took away my hand sanitizer. They took away, what else did they take away? Oh, basically, they just, like, almost everything was just not okay. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, it's not that deep. Like, it's hand sanitizer, it's under 100 milliliters, like, that's the limit. And they're like, no, it's not okay. So anyway, that security check took more than 10 minutes, and it was just us. Like, do you understand that? It was just, what did I say his name is? Judah. It was Judah and me. After that, our guardian walks us through to our check-in gate, and then they're ready to last call for boarding, which was like insane that everything took so long. We have to be the last people to get onto the bus going to the plane, and then, so obviously we're the first people off the bus, and then we think we're gonna go. He's like, no, we have to be the last people to go on the plane. I'm like, why? Why? And we had already like booked our seats, but they told us at the airport, no, we have to sit at the back of the plane. I'm like, why? Anyway, so they didn't want to let us on the plane. Like, they just didn't want to, even though we had all our documents. They're like, no. And then, and this guy had to like plead our case, and then eventually they let us on the plane. So the plane was delayed leaving. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is why you know, Chinese people feel this way about foreigners now because they're just delaying their lives. And then they tell us on the plane we can only use one toilet at the back where we're sitting. So they're like, the toilet on the left is for us only, we can't use the other toilets. So they didn't let anyone else on the plane use our toilet. So there was 3 of us. There was also a Chinese guy who was there, but I didn't see him, or maybe I didn't pay attention to him the whole time because he wasn't like with us. So I don't know where he popped up from. When we landed in Shanghai, they tell us we have to be the last people off the plane. I'm like, why? Why? And there's this woman who was taking her time, like literally, I don't know what this woman was doing. Like, she was like, go first. I'm like, we can't. 我们不可以. Like, oh, dude. Anyway, so when we get off, there's someone literally as soon as we got off the plane, like, to walk off the plane on that bridge thing. There's this guy waiting for us, and he's like trying to say our names, and he can't. And we're like, yeah, it's 3 of us. So he takes us, and guys, more forms, more processes, and I'm just trying to figure out if I can quarantine in my apartment or what. And they're like, my apartment, guys. Okay, I don't have an apartment yet, but I was gonna rent an apartment there, and I'd already spoken to Sweet Home Kelly about getting an apartment because I knew that if I needed to quarantine, I needed to be like alone to quarantine. So then they tell us that no, the laws just changed like a few hours ago, that you cannot now self-quarantine. You have to quarantine at a government facility, and it depends on your district how much it is and everything. So now I'm thinking, holy damn, my district is Changning, which is pretty decent district. So I'm like, oh, it's gonna be expensive, oh my god. Oh, basically that's when I had to say goodbye to Lion of Judah because he was going to a different city after that, so he had to quarantine in his city. So they took him away. We said our goodbyes, and then I don't know where the Chinese man went, to be honest. I don't know where he went. I'm the only person here, and it's just the testing people from the districts. So then they take my passport. I'm like, why are you taking my passport? They're like, no, we'll give it back to you when you arrive at quarantine. I'm like, but I want my passport. And like, no, you can't have it. So then I was like freaking out. I was like, shit, I literally can't even run. Not that I like had that option before, but now I'm thinking, now more than ever, I can't run. So that was like really made me feel uneasy to have them taking away my passport. I'm there for now like at least 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe, just sitting there. So I call Fred, and I'm like talking to Fred to try and like, you know, deal with the stress of it all. And like eventually they come to me and they're like, okay, let's go, bus is here. So my bus comes, and it's literally just me. So it's a bus, a whole bus just for me, and it was the bus driver, 2 workers from the CDC, and myself, right, on the bus. Now we're driving, so we like leave the airport, we're driving along, and I'm like seeing these sirens, like, you know, lights, and I'm like, are we just following police or what? And only after about the 3rd turn did I realize that this police escort is escorting me on this bus. Guys, I've never felt so VIP in my life. So we currently have police escorting us to the hotel. By us, I mean just me. Guys, here it is, the police escort. I get to the hotel, I have to fill out all these things, and this is like outside under like some tent. Then they tell me that it's 200 a day, including food, which I was like happy about because that's the best case scenario. I have to leave my bags and they'll bring them to me after they sanitize them. So I'm like, okay. So I go up to the room, they show me my room. So this is my new room. I have a couch. I don't have a desk. Looking for a good bathroom. Ooh. Okay, not bad. 200 RMB a day. I'm trying to work out how to turn on the air conditioner for heat because it's super cold in Shanghai compared to Shenzhen. Because Shenzhen was like warmer than Durban, but Shanghai was like super cold. Below 10 degrees Celsius. I'm just a bit frustrated right now because I don't have my luggage. They said they were going to spray it and disinfect it and bring it up to me, but they haven't, and it's 12:30, like past midnight, of all my books and everything, and tomorrow I have my first class. And I also have my pajamas and stuff, and it's really cold. So I'm gonna have to sleep in jeans and like all of this. And the next morning I started class. I finally got my suitcase, literally 2 minutes before my class starts, with breakfast. The next day I ordered a heater. I felt myself getting sick, and I was like, because I called them and I asked like, why can't I get the aircon? I can't find the remote, and they told me you can't use it. So I realized, okay, it's centralized, so they don't want us to get sick. I bought a heater. So the way that they knock is just like, I have an issue with that because it's on my anxiety. Wait for it. It literally gives me anxiety every time. Yo, but at least it wakes me up in the mornings because they knock before 8:30. So that's my alarm. All the things that I've been able to order to make my life just more comfortable here and more livable, because I've been here for 2 weeks. Quarantine is quarantine, I suppose. Give us hand towels instead of, you know, giving us 2 hand towels for 2 weeks. They also, you can't change your bedding for 2 weeks. You have no cleaning supplies for 2 weeks. So I had no toilet paper, like no new toilet paper. They give you like what's equivalent to like 1 roll essentially, and then yeah, you're on your own after that. So I've done a lot of shopping just for supplies, and also just some other food, snacks, fruits, because you can't survive without fruits, right? 2 days worth of deliveries. I decided to look cute for my last day in quarantine. What do you guys think? My t-shirts, my humidifier. No space left. But essentially quarantine has just been fine, whatever. So right now I'm about to clean my room. Don't judge me. Okay, right now don't judge me. But this is what this is the current situation. Literally like in pieces. The thing that just gets me the most is that when the world was speaking badly about Chinese people, we were there defending it and saying that
事情啊，我要跟大家说一下。第一个就是
I decided to look cute for my last day in quarantine. What do you guys think? Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Bye!